everybody, welcome to yet another episode of Cape Rugby TV here on Cape Town TV. Nice to have you along. Of course, tonight is a very special night, and who would have imagined it? You will see it on the show with me now. Can you imagine? The monster is here. Finally, after 11 years, the magnificent Currie Cup is here. This is what we've been waiting for. Tonight we focus on some of the victories at Western Province and the hard work that has gone into that. I've got to be very careful with this. It reminds me of carrying the World Cup trophy around. Kind of heavy. On the other side, Mr. H, and I can hardly see you, Herman Abrahams. Mr. H, how are you doing?
I'm in a very good mood.
Everybody's got big smiles today.
Yeah, the whole week it's like building up, and then it was the game, and now tonight, it's fantastic.
Very exciting. Jerome, come here.
Baie goed, JP. Lekker om weer terug te wees.
And another man who's also brought back the trophy back to Cape Town, Nazeem Adams. Nazeem, how are you?
Baie goed, JP. Net bly om hier te kan wees en om te dink ons het die Currie beker na 11 jaar. Dis fantasties.
Dis nou die eerste keer wat ons jou op die show het en ek meen, waar is jou beker?
Nee, dis nog daar by die ouetjies in Stellenbosch. Ek dink hulle hou dit nog by hulle.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get through some of that. I think let's just touch a little bit, and we've got so many photographs of the Western Province going up there, and I mean tonight really can be a general conversation about Western Province rugby and the success and maybe the journey to getting back the trophy after 11 years. You know, Mr. H, when I was watching the game on Saturday, I thought this has to be it. If there's ever been a replay of the history at the right time. Because I was in Durban the last time we won that Currie Cup, and I remember Corne Krige holding it up, and I know that in the tunnel there at Newlands you see Corne holding that trophy. Yeah. After he had his hair shaved because I think of his bachelor's or something like that. 11 years, Western Province, and a lot of people have been quite critical about the fact that we don't hold the silverware, so to speak. Even though we've got the statistics of being the best team in South Africa, this is really what it's about, huh?
Yeah, if you see the reaction of all the people, you know, at the stadium there on Saturday, yesterday, throughout Sunday at the airport, it's fantastic, you know, and it means such a lot. And when you're there, actually there, then you realize, you know, the emotions and the passion and all those things that are built into this trophy.
What do you know about the history of this trophy? I mean, if I look and I suppose you have to, I see the guys yanking this trophy around when it's, I mean, they run around with it, they pull it around and so on. But I mean, if I look at this trophy here, and I just go here, 1911, 1908, I mean, the years that Western Province has won this trophy more than any other team.
Yeah.
Right? Going back in history now.
Yeah.
But look at this, 1894. I mean, this is history in the making.
I think it was presented in 1891.
Well, this is the time that you need a guy like Dave Kagan on the show to tell you about the history of the manufacturing of the trophy. But the Currie Cup, or at least the Currie Rugby Football Challenge Cup, there's the name of it. I mean, I think a lot of people who don't have the opportunity to hold this trophy would never have realized that that's the name on the trophy. Yeah. The Currie Rugby Football Challenge Cup. And incidentally, folks, if you haven't seen a trophy in your hands before and you want to look to see if it's the original, you will see, and you're not going to see it on the shot here, but you'll see that there are tiny little engravings that are actually stamped into the original trophy that indicates historically where it comes from. Mr. H, but I mean the Currie Cup itself, there's quite a lot of security that goes around with this trophy. It's not just something you throw around.
No, you can't. I mean, after all, you know, there's only one trophy like this.
Yeah.
And if you should lose all this stuff around here, I don't think you will ever get the same aura about the trophy.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see how people want to be with the trophy. You know, just stand with the trophy, take the picture, and off you go.
Jerome, for you, from an emotional point of view, you've been working so hard. Alistair could see, and we're going to talk about Alistair. You know, of course, you and Nazeem are very close to the cutting edge here, so to speak. From an emotional point of view, Western Province Rugby, yourself, how do you feel about it?
No, JP, I think it's great for the youngsters. I mean, they put a lot of effort in, and I mean, they were really the underdogs, and the way they played, they deserve on the day. They deserve to win this cup, and the effort that they put in the whole year, and the coaching staff also. I mean, they took a lot of flack of people calling them chokers and things like that. So they really put a lot of work and effort into it, and it is a great achievement, especially for a youngster to, at that age. I also, in my first year playing for Western Province back 89, won the Currie Cup.
1889.
1989 with Western Province, winning the Currie Cup also as a 21-year-old. So that's it's one thing that you treasure, and it's one thing. That's the cup in South Africa. I mean, more than the Super Rugby or anything. People can say what they want, but this is the cup that everybody treasures, and this is a thing that you can talk for life about. The history about the cup and playing in the Currie Cup.
Yeah.
So it's always a special competition.
Very exciting. Nazeem, let's go to you. You guys winning it from an under-19 point of view. What does it mean for those guys? Let's just talk about winning it on the day before we go back to the whole process and all that. Tell us about the under-19s traveling up there. You had done 21s there as well, and of course then the senior players. How did it feel for those under-19 guys taking to the field, knowing that they were sort of leading the way and prepping the ground for the heavy elephants to come along?
Jeff, I can tell you there's a lot of pressure on us. There were a lot of pressure on us because you must understand that we need to set the tone for the day, and it was important for us to win that first game. And I mean, it was unbelievable. The same happened in 2010. If you can remember, in 2010 all three teams were also in the final. We against the Bulls, under 21 against the Bulls, and the senior team against the Sharks. And on that particular day we won, and the under 21 team won, and the senior team lost. And I can tell you, it's very nice to win for the under 19, under 21, but you feel that sadness if your senior team is not winning the thing. And for us, it was unbelievable when we won and the senior team won. It's a pity for the under 21, but for the senior team it was so important, and for the youngsters it was just great. That feeling to win the under 19 level and the senior level was absolutely fantastic.
When you guys won, when you won the game, and of course they moved you to another field. They moved you to the B field, right?
Yes.
How did that affect the game on the day?
Can I tell you, I think it worked into our favor, because the Bulls were very upset because the game was shifted to the B field. Obviously we also were upset because, I mean, it's nice for the parents to watch their children playing. But I told the players, listen here, we came here to win a game. It doesn't matter where we play. Even we have to play on that hilltop, but we're going to win this game here. They upset him about things they can't control. We're not going to do that. And I think it worked in our favor.
Maar het dit vir julle gevoel as we op 'n neutral ground toe was?
Ja, in 'n mate is dit wel. En ek moet sê ook, kyk, ons het mos nou 3 keer in die bulle gespeel, en ons het hulle nou gewen by die huis, op hulle eie veld en op 'n neutrale veld. So ons was nogals heel confident dat ons goed sal doen daar.
Jerome, toe julle die Currie beker gewen het, 89, was dit op Nieuweland?
Nee, dit was op Loftus, maar snaaks genoeg dat ons het die Currie beker gedeel. Die telling was gelyk op.
O, het julle gedra?
Ja, en toe daar was nie nog 'n ekstra tyd gespeel nie. So vir 6 maande het ons die beker gehad, en vir 6 maande het die bulle die beker gehad. So die eerste 6 maande het die bulle vir ons die beker gegee.
Mr. H, if I go to you now, from a Western Province point of view, from a commercial point of view, from a marketing point of view, how important is it to win the Currie Cup? I mean, Western Province has been the most successful sporting brand in South Africa, the Stormers, for years. And even though you haven't had the Currie Cup and you might not have, had the Super 15 trophy and that, the team was still getting into the newspaper more than anybody else. They were selling more memorabilia than anybody else. But from a commercial point of view, how big is it?
It's massive, massive, because you are now, you are referred to as the Currie Cup champions. And that will be until next year this time. Nobody can take it away. You can lose all your games in the meantime, but you are the reigning Currie Cup champions.
Is this one of those times when, that it's almost like all mistakes, bad administration, bad publicity, bad media, everything just gets forgotten?
Everything is forgotten, yeah. Well,
No,
it is for the people in charge
Yeah,
to keep, you know, their feet on the ground and to realize what
yeah.
the problems that were there and
But
just
no,
make it
I
better.
mean, do we not run the risk of everybody focusing or saying, well, we're the Currie Cup champions, so rugby's perfect? I don't want to spoil the moment, but,
Yeah,
but we mustn't forget about the clubs.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, the club out there in East River or somewhere there,
Yeah,
there's no material benefit
yeah,
now
yeah.
for them. So they must just say, you know,
But I
they
mean,
go
if
on.
you win the Currie Cup, there's more money coming from sponsors. Jerome, would you agree with me that if there's more, if you win the Currie Cup, you're more marketable, you're more sellable, there's more sponsors. If the finances are controlled correctly, surely there's money pushing down or support pushing down into the clubs.
Yeah, definitely, JP. That's why I think everybody in Western Province, also playing rugby in Western Province, the clubs, everybody, they can be happy because now, I mean, if you do your marketing right and you go to the right people, certainly there's money out there. People want to be associated with Western Province, with the brand, and it is an old brand, it is a good brand. So if we do our work right now, I don't see any problems now. If clubs, whoever need assistance, then Province can help them.
You're talking about clubs and assistance. I mean, you, me, Nazeem, we've both been out of the clubs helping a little bit, and I remember at the beginning of the year we also ran up and down past each other. And I'm not going to say which club it was, because then they'll probably think that there's favoritism, because I know that we've spent, and not to mention Mr. H, at just about every single club in Cape Town, we've spent enough time out there. Does this add for the club rugby players, I'm going to ask you, Nazeem, does this add for those players who maybe are not, they don't ever have a chance to come to Newlands, they can't see Western Province rugby play on TV? Because make no mistake, but the majority of the people out there that are rugby fans did not watch the Currie Cup final on TV because it's not broadcast in their space. So for those club rugby players out there that have now seen it in the newspaper, they maybe saw the trophy parade, does it add a sense of pride to the club rugby players?
Most certainly. I think if you just look at when we came from the airport there, and you saw the people waiting for the players to come with this cup, then you realize, and only then, that this thing is very big. They can say what they like. They can say that the Currie Cup is not that big anymore. But I'm telling you, it's huge. Just look at yesterday as well. Yeah. There's a lot of support, and the people in the club players, they can identify with this cup.
I mean, over the derde span speel vir Whistling Wheels of Makassar of jy weet Laguna of ietsie.
JP, ek sê vir jou,
onder die WP banner speel.
JP, ek sê vir jou, daai ou, hy speel, vir hom voel dit of hy self op hy veld is.
Okay, dan het ons gewen op 'n hele paar vlaktes as net op by die Sharks. Let's take a look at some of the photographs. We're going to flash through them here. There's some fantastic pictures we managed to get from the marketing department. The guys were, of course, up at the game on Saturday, and they sent us some pictures which you would normally not see in the public space. So these pictures are from behind the scenes, and we're going to flash through a couple of them kind of quickly. Well, there we see Dwayne Vermeulen now holding the trophy, and there's a man who certainly had an enormous impact on the game. So, Jerome, we were talking about this on the last week when I said that the Sharks rather unintelligently, and in fact this is what I mentioned on Good Hope FM, is that they would target a guy like Dwayne, but what a dominating force in the forwards for our pack.
Yeah, he's the type of guy, JP, he actually liked that physical stuff, and he liked it that people target him, and he knew that they're going to come out, and I mean that he's sort of the senior guy amongst the pack. I mean almost the whole pack is still under 21.
Did the Sharks underestimate the Western Province? I mean, they kept saying we're too light, we haven't got the goods up front.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, JP, everybody would I mean, they've basically got the Springbok front row, and we've got still under 21 guys playing in our front row in a Currie Cup final. So definitely you could see in the way they ran onto the field, they thought it's just going to be a walk in the park. and our youngsters stood up to the thing, and I mean they actually, the first scrum, I thought there's going to be a long day for Western Province because they basically killed them.
Yeah.
But I mean they got together and they actually stood up to
Western
them.
Province had I think we've got a picture of Yanni du Plessis somewhere here. We're going to come to that in a second. But we stood up to them pretty well. Kitshoff, what, he's 21 years old. Malherbe is not the biggest guy in the world, and nevertheless, this what was and Debeni, not the tallest guy in the world either. En die ouens het opgestaan.
Ja,
Ek bedoel, was hy okay, nou nie elke skram gewen nie, maar hulle was nie heeltemal gedestrooi nie.
Daar was 2 keer wat Skarra en Debeni vir Willem Alberts geduik het. Die eerste keer dink jy eers is dis lak en hy het hom teruggevat nie. Die tweede keer kom hy weer en hy vat hom weer terug. Toe weet ek nee wat hy het nie weer daai soort van daai runs gehad soos wat hy altyd het in 'n game nie. Toe weet ek nee wat die manne is op vir hulle en ek bedoel dis regtig waar en ek dink net terug te kom na die onder 21s toe ek dink dis waar die onder 21s 'n bietjie gesukkel het van Eben Etzebeth kon ook nog onder 21 speel.
Ek wou vir jou gevra het, hulle moes hom vir Eben in albei games gespeel.
Ja, ek het gedink hulle kon ja.
Ja, maar hy kon die alle 21s gespeel het en in actual fact and Nazeem, some of those guys could probably still have played for the other 19 squad.
Yeah.
Mr. Actually, I mean, on that note, the fact is, if you look at those players, we almost, what, 70% of those players are just 20, 21, under 21, they're extremely young.
80%.
80%, Jerome? Yeah.
JP, ek kan, jammer om te sê, maar ek kan nou vir jou sê, nee, uit daai span uit, ek het nog gepraat van 2010, uit daai span uit kan jy kry Skarra, Debeni, Frans Malherbe, Eben Etzebeth, dan het ons eens vir Nizam en vir Sia by nie, wat speel daar. Daai spelers wat nog in 2010 vir onder 19 gespeel het en kyk daar kom wen hulle 'n beker, 'n Currie beker, 'n senior beker op dieselfde veld. Hulle 2 jaar tevore het gewen het in die onder 19.
Maar dit dink jy, I mean, Mr. H, ask you then from a union point of view, because I mean you know the administrative level. Do you think the other unions out there are going like it's game over for us for the next 5 years? Because if you look at this like a player life cycle, you have a period there that you're really successful and you have to rebuild again. I mean, and we're like in a rebuilding phase, but we're at a winning phase, rebuilding and young.
And if you look at the fact that the under 21 and the under 19 also made it to the final.
Yeah.
And that shows that there's enough talent to feed that team all the time.
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to Nick Groom.
Yeah.
And I said to him, you know, you had a fantastic season. At the beginning, you were not in this team. You were not on the bench. You were nowhere. You got in after an injury, and then you were, you know, you just sort of came on when they thought it was necessary. But you started the Currie Cup final.
Yeah.
And that is a young player. He took his chances when he had it. And I think he had a brilliant game.
Jerome, from a technical point of view, one of the things that impressed me about Nick Groom is the way, his speed at which he gets the ball out. We have in the past seen scrum halves who take a step and then pass. You know, Ricky January used to love doing that, step, pass. I know George Gregan used to do it in the day, but he did it with purpose so that he could float his backline into space. Whereas we've seen in the past scrum halves who take a step or their leg is in the wrong position instead of having one fluid path. Groom has got a great snappy long distance scrum half pass.
Yeah, I must say, JP, there's a lot of to that is like you played with Dimitri also step up. He's playing a bit flatter, so he could actually just get the ball and pass. He knew that he's going to be there. And I mean, as a youngster, Groom is still a youngster. He made the right decisions. He know when to slow it down, when they need to play the forwards, when to play them up. But most of the time they knew if they get quick ball, they don't want to send too many numbers to the rucks. Quick ball, that's what Province wanted, and because they know of the physicality of their pack. Yeah. So he actually, him and Katekilis performed very well on the day, and they've done a great job there.
Nazeem, from a technical point of view, hulle praat altyd oor dis die loskakel wat die game moet beheer. Ek weet nou julle het ook maar seker 'n bietjie celebrations gehad, maar ek neem aan dat by die tyd wat die Currie beker afgeskop het, was julle almal al klaar in julle sitplekke.
Ja.
Wat het jy gedink van Katekile se game control?
Nee, ek gaan nou vir jou sê, ek moet net aansluit met wat Jerome nou gepraat het van Groom. Die goeie ding van hom is dat hy gee spasie vir sy losskakel. In die sin dat jou guard en bodyguard wat gewoonlik om die fence staan, hulle kan nie net afbeweeg op die losskakel nie. Want as jy afbeweeg gaan groom, gaan hy snipe om die skram. En dit is wat hy doen. Omdat hy die fences vashou, gee hy baie meer spasie vir Katrikilis. En hoe meer spasie Katrikilis het, hoe beter kan hy speel. En jy kon sien, hy het sy agterlyn goed weggestuur, hy het meer tyd gehad om te dink wat hy kon doen. En dis hoekom hy die game so goed kon beheer het.
When you say groom, hy blok. Verduidelik vir ons van 'n tegniese punt af, as ek 'n klubcoach is, hoe maak ek daai werk vir my klub?
Kyk, JB, wat normaalweg gebeur, as 'n rak opgesit word, né, dan sal die defenses gaan, jou eerste verdediger sal omtrent 'n meter van die rak af wees, en ons noem hom ons maar nou die guard.
Okay.
Of pille, wat die klub sit ook al wil noem, hy is die eerste verdediger. Dan sal jy 2 meter plus minus, sal jy nog 'n verdediger kry, wat ons noem die bodyguard. En dan sal jy 3 kry, jou derde verdediger. Nou ons sê altyd, as jou skram af 1 en 2 kan laat sit, dan kan hulle nie net opbeweeg en druk plaas op jou aanvallers nie. Ja. En dis wat Groom goed doen. Nou wat gebeur? Dan is dit, as Katrikilis die bal kry, dan moet 3 'n besluit maak. Gaan hy op Katrikilis of gaan hy op Groom? En dit is waar jy die spasie van haar kry om te kan aanval.
En is dit nou, Jerome, is daai selfe wat jy nou vir die ouens geleer het in terme van daai V-formasie?
Ja, dis presies dieselfde. Dis presies dieselfde, JP.
Dis waarvan jy praat, hè?
So ja, jy moet, soos Nazeem ook sê, jy moet veral op verdediging, as jy 'n skrimskakel het soos Groom, ja, wat heel verskillende as Duvenage is, wat dis hoekom maar so baie druk partykeers op die losskakel is. Dis hoekom ek sê Groom, hy maak vinnig skoon, maar hy maak ook die regte besluite. As hy sien om die druk van die losskakel af te haal, as hy sien hulle, soos Nazeem gesê het, die pille of die blok beweeg vinnig na die losskakel toe, sal hy die spasie aanval. Ja. En so hy wissel dit baie goed af en is min wat dit kan doen.
Mr. Eis, as ons nou kyk van 'n WP standpunt af, from a Western Province Union point of view, what I'm finding fascinating, and we've known this all along, and I know that if we had Alistair on the show, and I'm hoping to get Alistair on the show soon, what's interesting to me here is that we've got Jerome, head of talent identification, working with the juniors, working with the clubs. We've got Nazeem on the show. We've had John Dobson on the show, and of course we know what Alistair says on a regular basis. And this is the part that must scare the living daylights out of the unions, is that they're talking exactly the same language. So what we can expect here is that anyone coming through the ranks, whether it be from the institute, the academy, the under-16s, the under-19s, Vodacom Cup, all the way through, they're going to already have spent a few years learning whatever the guys are practicing right now.
Yeah, the Western Province ethos and the strategy and you know, and the protocols that goes with the team. Yeah. It's inculcated in those youngsters from right at the bottom, even from under 13 and under 18.
And this is part of the success of Western Province.
That's how it is. But you know, one thing to these guys that I like to mention is, I saw it under 19, I saw it in the senior team, is that for once, the back line was clear. You never saw all those, especially on the attack, the locks or the flankers in the back line and cluttering up the back line. And that is where Johan could have that space around him to bamboozle the people.
We spoke
and
about,
unfortunately, the under 21, the forwards cluttered up the back line far too often. No space to move.
Now, we spoke about that last week. We spoke about the fact that, yes, Western Province Rugby's got a great defensive structure, but winning games still is about playing unpredictable rugby. And you made that joke last week, we're going to win this game on a plan C. Unpredictable rugby, there's not a defensive structure in the world that can beat unpredictable rugby, because how would you prepare for it? We had some interesting changes, because what we saw again, and I think what people don't understand, is unpredictable rugby is the old school Western Province style of running rugby. And what running rugby creates a lot of unpredictability, so to speak. Jean de Jong took full advantage of that. The change on Joe Peterson also changed things a little bit, that the guys had to think on their feet. Jerome Paarwater van daai twee changes, daai twee moves, ek meen die feit dat soos Mr. H nou gesê het, die voorspelers was nie in die agterlyn nie om miskien daai heavy driving maul tipe rugby te speel nie, maar die agterlyn kon hulle self express.
Yeah, definitely, JP. I mean, from the start of the Currie Cup, they changed their strategy a bit, and they struggle to get to it, especially with the older players, to get that bad habits out of them, of playing in certain forwards, lurking in the back line and things like that, taking the space of the creative backs like Johan de Jong, Brian Abana and them and guys like that. So I think they've changed their strategy, and hopefully they're going to go on with that in Super Rugby. And also yesterday talking to Stefan de Toey, that he said that Johan de Jong told Katakillis before he took that kick for Poles when Johan de Jong scored.
Yeah.
He said Johan de Jong told Katakillis, I mean, it's a certain move that they play, that he's going to score.
Yeah.
He said
the only
at
thing
the time
that
he's going to score.
It's almost like the only thing in that move that wasn't 100% worked out, because I know Flecky had been working together with them on that move for that whole week.
Yeah.
The only thing that he had to make sure to get right was the handoff.
Yeah, that was, and I mean, Keegan Daniels is one of the best defenders to hand him off. But you could see, when Stefan told me that he said that he's going to score, you could see that the effort that he put in to accelerate, and there was no one going to stop him.
He knew what he was going to do. I mean, he knew every step.
And I think also a thing like visualizing before the game, I think he visualized that try before. He could see that, and he knew.
Is that, Nazeem, is that one of the, do you guys practice that visualization with the youngsters?
JP, definitely. You need to back yourself, and you actually need, before you score the try, you need to see how you're going to score it. That's absolutely key. And you know what happened in a warm-up? They've done that same move, and it worked in the game.
Really?
Yeah, they've done it.
And the Jocks, they didn't see that they were practicing. Ek sê nou nog altyd vir die mense, as jy uit 'n klein dorpie soos Durban kom, gaan liewer terug na die Jerry Springer show toe.
you know what was great about that try is that he left the two darlings of Kings Park
in the dust,
sprawling there. That to me was great to see Keegan Daniels and Lou lying there, and you know.
Do you think, ek dink amper daar so Heineke Meyer en vir homself gedink, wat die hel het ek gemaak met daai selection. daai ligbroek flank, wat soek hy in my span?
The only bad thing about that try is I watched the game with my father-in-law, and he said,
that is bad.
He said, if I was the coach now, when Johan performed the dance, I would have taken him off. We were all celebrating and he had coach, and he said, we thought he's going to say something. He said, if I was the coach now, I would have taken him off.
Then you take him off, There is a sense of, I mean, look, I come from a world of another sporting type, not rugby so much. And the one thing that you never do in my sporting code is, in fact, you don't even smile when you win, is you don't break dance, you don't cheer. Nazeem, is that one of the, from the youngsters' point of view? Do you just look at it and smile like your broek is weer halfpad by your knie af type thing, like we look at the youngsters today? Or do we coach any like sort of life skill stuff and say, guys, honestly, there's a point? Or do they all just watch the All Blacks and see these oaks doing their piri-weepu dances on the back of the field, and then they've got to come up with their own stuff?
No, JP, we come from a very disciplined environment. You know, with the institute, there's a lot of discipline there, and we don't allow them to celebrate like that.
Some moves dan, en daar was regtig 'n paar hy moes al ure gevat het om Jerome se hardloop move wat so is. Nou, as hulle gekyk het hoe jy en Mr. H die Usain Bolt move doen. Nou, daai sou ek gesê het, daai sou werk. Want dis nie te veel van die daar sy nou net. Okay, alright. Ons Jerome wys vir ons weer daai met die hoek het.
Ja.
Yeah.
Folks. Look, let's take a look at some of the photographs. So we're going to flash through them, and I'll guide you through some of these shots here. There we go. That's the final, of course, the final whistle blowing. An absolute thrill there. I see everybody managed to squeeze themselves onto that podium. That podium needed to be a little bit bigger so that everybody could get on there to make sure that they were able to celebrate the moment. Mr. H?
You just look in the background how quickly everybody else disappeared.
Let's have a quick another look at that photograph again.
There's
there.
hardly any people in the back.
Yeah.
They're gone.
It's interesting. It's interesting, Mr. H, that you mentioned that because when I looked at the game itself, there was a big part of the stadium that was empty.
Yeah, it was.
And what's going on there, Jerome? I mean, are they not pulling crowd anymore? Did they not think they could win?
No, I think they thought maybe, it's going to be an easy game. So we're not going to waste our money.
TV?
Yeah,
I
watch
know
it on TV.
originally at 350 rand, there was a lot of...
There were complaints beforehand,
Complaints,
actually, in the public space about the ticket scenario. Yeah, there was some complaints, and they said they were not going to back down on that. That was the price of the tickets. Well, I suppose it is a Currie Cup final. It's you're going to pay for what you get. Let's have a look at some of the other photographs now. And there you see the boys in the changing room. Deon Fourie, of course, very, very proud. And Frans Malherbe himself said in the week that he hasn't been this sore in a very, very long time. Another picture there. Jean de Villiers, of course, with Scarra and Tubeni Scarra, so proud. And in the background there, defensive coach Jacques Nina. But Jean de Villiers, nice to have him there. Joe Peterson, what a difference he made when he came to the field. That speed, that acceleration, and that absolute step of his, you just couldn't believe it. And some great kicking from Joe, of course, as well, keeping Province in the game. Celebrations after the match, how fantastic it is there. Flecky, Greg Hechter and the boys. And another picture there of Joe Peterson. And there we go. That's the picture we've all been waiting for. Alistair Coetzee. And let's just go to our panel here quickly. Mr. H, Alistair was actually quite emotional after the game. I don't know how he held it in. He's been working very hard at this. He really deserves every bit of credit and gratitude for his success so far.
Yeah, I think when you're so close to a team, and you take all the flack the whole year or for years, and then that moment arrives, then
you got to admire
emotion
him.
is great.
He's hung tough during the season. A lot of criticism. You've got to admire him, give him credit. Yeah.
And I know he's just taken it on the chin. He never really sort of blew his top about it. He handled the press, he handled the media people, and I think he's at the end, the last match, when he made the change with Brachi and De Lende. That was a brilliant move on his side.
Yeah, very sharp.
And normally coaches won't do that in a final. But that was great.
Let's take a look at some of the other pictures here from the weekend. There the boys celebrating on the field. There's, I think, Brachi and Nick Groom, and of course,
Brocky.
Brocky in the background there. The man who controlled the game himself, Dimitri Katrakilis. How was Jerome? Did you ever? I haven't seen it. Okay, what's his name? Johnny Wilkinson, a drop kick left and right. But when Katrakilis hit that ball, and I thought, meneer, this is not a grabber. And it just stayed low, straight over. I thought, this is pure skill.
No, I think definitely that's where I knew we had it game.
In the bag.
That was luck.
Yeah.
I mean, step, because he was on his right foot to drop, and with all that pressure, just step, and as you say, almost like a grabber kick, grabber it over. Then you know that is the luck that you need. Yeah. And I mean, he performed well also, so he deserves a lot of this credit for this cup.
Yeah.
And he made a lot of tackles. He made a lot of big tackles on big guys, and that is very important.
And I think, I mean, I don't know too much about it, but I think maybe the fans are all probably saying now, well, we're losing Katrakilis, but really that decision was made a long time ago. He is originally from Port Elizabeth. He's going back home, if I remember correctly, he's from PE, and that decision was made by him a while back. I mean, we didn't lose anything. Peter Grant comes back, and let's make no mistake, there's a big difference between Currie Cup and Super 15. Nazeem, would you agree with me that Peter Grant does slot well into the Super 15 structures? And tell me if I'm wrong.
Nou, ongetwijfeld. Ik meen, Daar is 'n groot verskil tussen 'n Currie-beker en om te speel in die Super 15. En ek dink Pieter Grant het vir ons oor die jare gewys dat hy's 'n goeie speler en 'n bekeerde speler soos hom. En terselfdertyd met Elton Giantjies wat ook kom, sal dit moeilik gewees het. Ek weet jy kan beserings en dit kry, maar sal moeilik gewees het om al drie te akkommodeer.
Ja, wel ten minste met die een ding kan jy seker wees is dat die mense wanneer Elton Giantjies hierso nou opdaag in die Kaap gaan daar nou natuurlik 'n nuwe hairstyle op die fletse wees. Jerome, gaan jy miskien een van daai vir jouself ook trim?
Ek gaan hom nou laat groei, JP.
Ek sou net
'n bietjie my hare laat groei.
Die Mohican.
Dat ek hom kan 'n bietjie relax.
Kyk, ek skof vir jou 'n GHD. Okay, ek sal vir jou organise. Okay, alright. Moet net nie deur die water stap nie, anders gaan dit wins. Ja, nee, ons kry hierso 'n discount op DHD's en GHD's. Hierso, Jerome, as enige mense daar buite is, okay, a GHD for Jerome when he's going to grow it back. Of course, we'll get back to his old Afro style. Don't forget, we'll, of course, in our history feature, folks, we'll see a lot more Afros. But yeah, let's take a quick look at some of the other photographs there, of course, taken on the day of the victory. Jacques Nienaber, what a brilliant performance. Greg Hechter, our kicking coach. Nazeem, from your point of view, the defensive structures, have the youngsters and the under 19, with your victory, how much of Jacques Nienaber's expertise, I mean, the entire country, the world of rugby actually talks about Jacques Nienaber's expertise in the world of rugby. How much of that knowledge filters down to the under 19s?
JP, I have a very good relationship with Jacques Nienaber. He's coming through every Thursday morning to the institute and with the VP under 19 team, and he helps us. And it's unbelievable how enthusiastic he is. I mean, on this program, I actually want to make a point of it to thank him for his support also, coming out week in and week out and assisting us in defense.
Absolutely. I think he has made an exceptional difference there, Jerome. You, of course, you tap into Jacques' knowledge as well.
Yeah, no, he's really done well with the whole defensive system in Western Province, and everybody is using it, and there's great results with it. And you know what, after Saturdays, I mean, just won the Currie Cup. He came out on Monday and he helped UWC with their defense. So it's a great man. I mean, take a lot of to do something like that.
Maar Nazeem, sy kop werk bietjie anders. Hy's amper soos 'n skaakspeler, nie 'n rugby speler nie. Hy dink anders wat hom so special maak. Sy brein is soos 'n komputer.
JP, kan vir jou sê die spelers, die onder 19 spelers, nee, hulle love hom. Maar jy weet, ons almal ken vir Jacques. Die man is so enthousiasties. As hy daar kom, hy steek almal aan.
Hy kom 'n genius.
Ja, nee wat, hy is 'n champion.
Let's have a look at some of the other pictures there. We've got some great shots here. And of course the boys in the changing room there, Gio, and there it goes, there is there. Now we have a wonder there about what exactly has poured into this trophy. Right, folks, not only, let's quickly just thank some of our sponsors. Now, look, one of the guys, it's not one of the guys, but the team, you see it behind me, Evox, has been behind all of the teams. And it's interesting, on the weekend we realized that from an Evox point of view, it was the supplements that had to make sure the final little bit of energy was added on top of the pile. It was the protein during the season. Every game, every practice session was finely tuned in terms of gym and nutrition. So to the guys at Evox, an enormous thanks. Your support in the nutrition space, and make no mistake, that is what actually, without that, you just don't have the 80 minutes of legs to get through. Jerome, would you agree with me?
Definitely, JP. Definitely. I could see now when we had the emerging, or the amateur sevens team in Kenya, played a lot of games on their day, and the guys were using it also at Oudtshoorn with the amateur guys, normal club guys. The feedback that we've got, please, can we have that stuff again? It really works.
When you're not finely tuned, when you haven't eaten properly during the week, when you haven't had the food, when you're tired, it's extreme, or overtrained perhaps, it's extremely difficult to get the full 80 minutes, and you need the full 80 minutes from every player during the game.
Yeah, definitely, JP. I mean, what we do also sometimes, if the guys come in for practices and things like that, they use the stuff, and then you could see on the practice field, they're just totally different guys and things like that. So it's really, it's almost like a must for people now. And now there's a lot of people with different views and things like that. But I mean, from my experience and working with the team and guys taking it. It's almost a must that you have to use that stuff.
Nazeem, we're talking about systems, systems in rugby, but we're also seeing the same systems being used by the different teams on the 19s and 21s and so on. In the gym, similar type of programs as the seniors, nutrition, similar type of methodology as the seniors. So that when they come to under 21, they already understand and so on. The under 19s also having that sort of a culture now built into them of nutrition, training, eating, sleeping.
Most definitely. You must realize that more than 90% of the under 19 team come from the Western Province Rugby Institute. They actually stay on the premises, they have a dietitian, they have gym, everything is there.
Yeah.
And that ultimately makes a difference between winning and losing.
And that's what, of course, during that time that they're like in their growth phase. So they need as much food and protein as possible.
Absolutely, and the right food as well, and the right nutrition. You must understand that that's why it's so difficult for somebody, for a player outside of the system to get into the under 19 or under 21 team.
Well, it is of course, that's the challenge. That's what development in South Africa is about, is making sure that as many people out there, number one, enjoys just playing rugby. And secondly, after they've enjoyed rugby as much as possible, thrown in as much passion as possible, hopefully get an opportunity, if they've got the talent, get the opportunity to be identified by the likes of Jerome and so forth. But having spoken now about Evox and the guys, let me push the Currie Cup to one side, but not too far away from me. It is, of course, oh yeah, by the way, folks, little Western Province Rugby flags were flying, of course, during yesterday's ticker tape parade, and we're going to have a look at a video of that a little bit later. In the meantime, if you'd like to win for yourself an Evox hamper, Cyto Crank, this is what you will use before the training session. Okay, so Cyto Crank is your starting product. Then, of course, we've got the recovery, that comes afterwards. But let's go with the before, during, and after, as you'll see in your slide in a couple of seconds' time when we announce last week's winner. So you'll start off your training session before you train with some Cyto Crank. This gives you a nice big energy boost and make sure you get through that whole training session. Remember, most training sessions will last an hour, hour and a half, as long as 2 hours. And this keeps you fired up at full energy, because if you're not working to your max, it means that your training partner is going to have to work harder, so he picks up for you. So you can never let them down, because it is a team sport. So this is the before, and then of course during your training or during the match, you can be sipping on some energy drink, your carbohydrate, and most important, if you train that match or play that game today and you train that gym session and you don't recover and you haven't repaired the muscles, then quite simply you're going to be in a situation that you're not going to be able to practice effectively tomorrow. So, recovery, that's what it's all about. Rapid recovery is the other Evox product that you can get your hands on. All right, and if you want to win for yourself this before, during, and after hamper, all you need to do is SMS the number, or at least the official sports nutrition supplier name to 33280. Just tell us who is the official sports nutrition supplier to the DHL Stormers and South Africa's best rugby team, the Currie Cup champions, the guys that brought home the trophy. Who helped Western Province Rugby bring home the Currie Cup trophy? All right, tell us the name of that company and SMS it now to 33280. You can see the name on your screen right now. Let's have a look at last week's winner. Congratulations to Selwyn Fortain. Selwyn wins for himself a Evox hamper, the before, during, and after hamper, courtesy of Evox Advanced Nutrition. And as I said, all you need to do is SMS your name and answer to 33280. This will get you through at least a month of training. 33280, and we're in the mix for that. So there you can still see the slide on your screen, 33280, and get yourself in the mix for that during the course of your off-season training. Okay, so that's the hamper, and you want to get that in the mix right now. Get in the mix, get big, get strong, get recovered, and have your opportunity. It's time for us to take an ad break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at some of the highlights of the ticker tape parade and what this trophy itself, the Currie Cup, meant to the fans of Western Province Rugby, the supporters in Cape Town, and in actual fact the general public in Cape Town, and what this meant to the world of rugby in Cape Town. We'll be back with you guys in a moment.
Get so much more for so much less at Tata Wistenburg.
Buy an Indica Vista Ego from $9.99 per month with a 3-year 100,000-kilometer warranty, 4 years 100,000-kilometer service plan, 3 years unlimited roadside assistance and more. To find out more, SMS the word Tata to 33280 and one of our service consultants will be in touch with you shortly.
Tata is a good buy for sure.
The victorious DHL Western Province Currie Cup team assembled on Tuesday morning to start an open-top bus parade through the streets of Cape Town. Not wanting to miss out Western Cape Premier Helen Zille, she met the players before deciding to join the players for the trip to City Hall.
It brings together all the people of this province who feel bonded, who feel led and inspired by the team. And so this magnificent day, and we're going to get on a lovely open bus and we're going to celebrate with all the people of the Western Cape and Cape Town.
Premier Zille boarded the bus with the players and management, opting to sit up to soak in the sun and share a few stories with the team. Through Newlands, it was a case of singing a few songs and waving at the passing cars, but when the team got into the centre of town, it was a different story. Fans lined both sides of the street to greet their heroes as the bus drove past. When the players arrived at City Hall, almost 3,000 fans had assembled to meet the players and watch Captain Dion Fourie present Mayor Patricia de Lille with a coveted Currie Cup trophy. We caught up with Dion Fourie, the captain of DHL Western Province.
11 years is a long time, and we knew we had lots on carrying on our shoulders for this proud supporters, and we're glad we could have done the job.
With the bus departing City Hall, it snaked its way through the busy Cape Town traffic, meeting fans and giving the people of Cape Town something to smile about during their lunch break. The bus then headed towards the suburbs of Elsie's-Rivier and Khayelitsha to carry on the celebrations. What pride, what fun, a ticker tape parade. The last time we saw this kind of parade was, of course, when Liverpool ran around with one of their big trophies in and around the UK, about, you know, showing their victory. I don't think any other England team in the history of football has ever done that. So yeah, the Currie Cup, a little bit like Liverpool constantly winning trophies. Mr. H,
you're looking for trouble now, but I enjoy the Liverpool side, so it's great.
Mr. H, from a Cape Town point of view, the bus, the players driving around, the public seeing the players, and in many cases, as we've said before, the public have never met the players. They don't get an opportunity to watch Currie Cup rugby. It's not broadcast in their space. And for the first time, they have now seen who these glory boys are and the trophy that they've only ever heard about. It must have been exceptionally a proud moment for players, the administrators, and the fans.
Yeah, no, but you could see on Sunday already what was going to come, you know, because the amount of people that were at the airport, that indicated the pride of it all. It's fantastic, and I think for the ordinary, like Nazeem said earlier, the ordinary guy, he feels that he also played for this trophy.
Yeah.
He was on the field there on Saturday.
Jerome, again, I go back to the club rugby players. Over the years, so many critics of Western Province rugby. Do you think we've silenced the critics now? Well, I mean, if just look at the beginning of the year, people were saying, okay, we'll probably never silence them, which is a good thing, because I believe that people must be held accountable. I believe that you must complain. I believe that you must understand who does the good jobs, who does the bad jobs, and then, you know, make up your own mind and not read everything you read in the newspaper. I believe that. So I believe the society in South Africa, from a public point of view, do need to voice their opinion. Do you think we've restored a little bit of confidence? Because, you know, we go back to the beginning of the year, there was this whole thing about defensive rugby doesn't work, we don't score tries. Have we gained back some points?
But I must say, JP, if there's no critics, if the people didn't complain about the bad rugby that the guys were playing in the Super Rugby competition, and like sort of their main focus was just on defense and things like that, they wouldn't have changed. And I must say, there, Alistair, Robbie Fleck doing the attacking plays, they've listened to a few people, and I also see from a Western Province side, they actually complimented the media now, being so critical in all the negative reports they have in the media. With that. Also give them credit now for that also. So I think it's fair that the people were upset the way Province were playing the past years, but it also take a man like Alistair to change the thing and listen to the people. So I think that was also good of them.
5 weeks ago we were thinking that's it, we're out of the Currie Cup. It was depending on a Bulls game, playing against someone else, and we weren't necessarily in it. From your side, from a youngster's point of view, Nazeem, is this, if we look at the youth rugby, parents are obviously very critical about whether or not their kids are going to make it into youth rugby. How do the parents feel about the Currie Cup victory?
I just want to relate to you this. I have 2 young boys, and they big supporters of Western Province. But they haven't seen Western Province win a cup. They so ecstatic. My family is so ecstatic that they won. So from that perspective, I'm telling you, every single parent out there, this means a lot for them and for their children, because they supported Western Province through thick and thin.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. Talking about people supporting us, Leisure Hotels has been one of our biggest supporters here on the Cape Rugby TV show, and we'd like to thank them for their support. And you can win yourself a night's accommodation, bed and breakfast at the Leisure Hotels, and all you need to do is SMS the word leisure to 33280. 33280. Let me bring this trophy a little bit closer, just making sure it's quite safe right here. 33280 right now to win yourself a night's accommodation, bed and breakfast at the Strand Towers, courtesy of Leisure Hotels, one of our biggest supporters here of Cape Rugby TV. And without Cape Rugby TV, I know many of you out there would never have had the opportunity to see this trophy. So our supporters, our sponsors have made it possible to connect Western Province Rugby to the fans out there. All right? Because the multitude out there, this is for you. Leisure to 33280, and we'll put you in the mix. Let's take a quick look at last week's winner. And last week's winner, Unita Ferreira. Unita Ferreira, that could be a bigenderous name. One night's accommodation, bed and breakfast at the Strand Towers, SMS the word leisure and your name to 33280. Congratulations, Unita. All right then, Mr. AJ.
There are children that must write exams, and they are going to use words like that.
Do you think...
I just wanted to ask Nazeem, you know, with everybody talks about the coaches. How important is the assistant coach and the other guys around you? I know you backline, your forward coach is Kennedy, Matt Proudfoot is a forward coach. How important is their contribution?
I can tell you, you can't operate without those guys. For Alistair, it is so much easier if you have people like Matt, because he knows that his scrums and lineouts is sorted. Robbie with the back line and Jacques with the defense. It makes your life so much easier, especially if you're a head coach and you have competent people working with you, because all those input, that the success comes from them, and without them, I promise you, it's not possible.
Right, folks. Of course, a lot of people out there during the course of the season had to make the decision on who was going to go up and who was going to go down. Of course, Western Province did win the Currie Cup final with a 7-point margin, and I must say, Mr. H, your prediction was?
7.
And my prediction was?
7.
So who would be the most skilled rugby predictors, really? People
Jerome was also close.
What did you say, Jerome?
6.
Are you sure?
No, I said 12.
You said 12, yeah.
Yeah, but that's how confident I was.
Well, we managed to pull it off, and here's the scary thing. I predicted it by 7, Mr. H, you predicted it by 7. That didn't move us up that panel at all. Let's take a look at the guys who did get it right, though. In our Cape Rugby TV Subaru panel, who this year had more than 1,000 members join the Subaru panel, and one of you is going to win that Cape Rugby TV Western Province signed jersey, courtesy of Evox. And this, well, this season's winner, after Subaru predictions to high heaven, up and down, is of course Fritz. Is that the top player? Fritz comes in at number 9. or at least jumps 5 places on 37 points. Fritz is the winner. We'll track you down, Fritz. We need to find out where you are. Kind of difficult to track you down. But our top 10 then, who did so well over the course of the season. Fritz, Tanya 45, JB, Sachrius, Jeb, or at least Jeff, Pats, Groot, Squid, Rugs, Buick, and Bad Boy. But the winner of the Cape Rugby TV Super Brew Pool, Fritz. Congratulations, Fritz. You are our winner in the Super Brew Pool, and you will win for yourself a signed Western Province Rugby jersey, courtesy of Evox Advanced Nutrition. And I must tell you that jersey is now worth a very lot of money. All right, you probably put that on auction and get a couple of million rand for it. But I suggest you don't, and you rather keep the jersey, frame it, and wear it in pride. And for heaven's sake, if you get a signed jersey, don't wear it to the game. Okay, it's like wearing 10 grand on your back. Such a memorabilia like that is worth a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been at a few functions where they auction things like that, and they make lots and lots of money out of it.
Yeah. Jerome, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you with you. Luckily, no more Super Brew predictions for you today. Because score by 12, I don't know.
Thanks, JP.
Nazeem, all the best to you. Congratulations. I mean, let's not take all the focus onto the Currie Cup here. You and your team, the under-19s, winning it, beating everybody else in the country. Again, I mean, it's almost a clean sweep for Western Province. The amount of pride and credit that must go to you and your team is the equivalent as to Alistair Coetzee and his team. So to you and your boys, the under-19 squad, congratulations. Fantastic, well done.
Thanks, JP. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and of course we want to see more of you on the show, because I think your knowledge and your ability to teach the kids out there and players to win trophies needs to be shared with the clubs.
Thanks.
Mr. H, thank you. Daar gaat die vlaggie. Waar is ons vlag, mensen? All right, there you go, folks. We've all got a flaggie. I think Nazeem's got a flaggie there as well. There you go. Hey, it's a wrap for us, folks. We'll, of course, be looking possibly to carry on next week with our history feature, and we'll bring you in on that. In the meantime, well, let me see if there's anything left in this Caribbean. Oh, it's empty. That's a wrap. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Have a great rugby weekend, week, holiday, whatever it is. Enjoy the fact that you are in the province that hosts the best rugby team in South Africa. To my panel and everybody out there, thanks. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.